Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, West Smith with House of Restoration, where we'll be in the light in the midst of darkness. I mean, and as y'all see in the title, we are still talking about the Kingdom of YAHUAH, part 7. So this is Kingdom of YAHUAH, part 7, the title, Seek Ye the Kingdom. Amen. And so we've been discussing for the last couple of weeks just about the kingdom, the different attributes that come with walking after Yahuwah and living according to his statutes and his ways. And so as we live according to his statutes and his ways, we learn to seek his kingdom. And as we're seeking his kingdom, that's what we should be doing first. And so many people try to establish other things. So many people try to, I have heard people say, well, let me stop doing this first, or let me get myself together. Well, I want to tell you something. By the time you figure out how to get yourself together, it's going to be too late. And so therefore we have to stop and really consider our actions, consider the things that we're doing, and consider whether we are getting ourselves together. And so Yahusha said, seek ye the kingdom of heaven, watch this, and his righteousness. That's right. Whose righteousness? Yahuwah's righteousness. The righteousness of the king. And so as we seek his righteousness, he said, then all these things shall be added unto you. And what is he talking about with these things that should be added unto you? Well, we know that he told us that he will put us in a land where we're prosperous. We know that he told us that we won't have to want for anything, that we will be the lender and not the borrower. That's right. And we will be heads and not the tail. And so therefore we have to apply the way that we live according to walking according to Torah, walking according to his ways, his statutes, and do this thing accordingly as he decided to do it. But before we go further, I just want to give a shout out to House of Fire. They're in the house. Come on, make some noise over there. So that they came up to join up with us, and as most of y'all know, we was at House of Fire a couple of months ago, and we spoke down there. And House of Fire, that's my mom and dad. So I just want to give honor to them. They decided to come up and visit. And, you know, while they're in the house on Shabbat, we still are going to go forth and, keep Shabbat. And so as we go into this study, we just want to continue to talk about the things of the kingdom. So remember, we looked at how we saw how Yahusha said, thy kingdom come in that one prayer, the Father's prayer, right? That's right. The Lord's Prayer, that's what they call it, but it's our Father's Prayer, or however you decide to name it. But he talked about how the kingdom would come. And then we also had a segment where we talked about the kingdom is at hand, meaning that it drew near. And so as these things apply to our lives every day, we have to understand that as the kingdom draws near, we have to draw nigh unto Yah. Right? We have to draw nigh to him so that he'll draw nigh to us. We have to have ourselves at a place to where when he's working and operating in us, others see his actions through us. And it is no longer us standing on our own pedestal saying, I did this. Because many times we want to be seen and we want to be heard, but not realizing that it's not us that is to be seen or us to be heard. A lot of times I don't even want my name out there like that. I prefer for it to be him. So whenever I get comments or whatever the case is, I say, to Yah be the glory. Because it's not my place to take what's his. And it's not my place to take the spotlight, because the spotlight isn't to be on me. I'm supposed to take that spotlight and shine it somewhere so others can see his glory. He said, for we are to let our light shine that it may glorify our Father which is in heaven, not the other way around, right? And so as we seek the kingdom, let's look at what Yahusha said in Luke chapter 12, verses 31 through 32. He said, but rather, seek ye the kingdom of Yahuwah, and all these things shall be added unto you. Right? He said, all these things shall be added unto you. But watch what he say in verse 32. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Right? So look what he turns around and say in verse 33. He says, sell that ye have and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, and a treasure in the heavens that fails not, where no thief approaches, neither moth nor corrupt. So something that we have to understand is he's saying, stop trying to gather these natural things. We constantly trying to hoard natural resources, trying to hoard these things for ourselves. Just like man, they want you to pay for power, right? But I want to tell you something. Yah has the ultimate power, because he said when the new heavens and the new earth come, he said that you won't have to pay for lights anymore, little children, because he will be your light, right? He said that you don't have to hunger no more, right? You have people in all these different countries, even here in America, that is hungering and don't have anything. But guess what? He said he's the bread of life. You shall hunger no more. He said that you won't have to be thirsty. Why? He said, because come and drink of these living water, and you will never thirst again. But see, we have to have, that's the things that we need to be seeking, the spiritual thing. And so we so constant trying to make sure that our natural lifestyle supplies our spiritual lifestyle. But I want to tell you something, people. You have to reverse that thing. Your spiritual lifestyle should be the thing supplying your natural lifestyle. Because if you seek ye his kingdom of heaven first and his righteousness, he said all these things shall be added unto you. Right? The good house, the nice car, all that different type of stuff. But we ain't trying to live a prosperous life as far as what we hear in the prosperity gospel. We're trying to live a life that is pleasing to Yah. So when others see us, they don't covet for the things that we have. They want to understand, man, how does he walk hand in hand and know that this person dislikes him, but he has a attitude of kindness toward that person, even though he doesn't like him? It's because we learned to follow the example of the king. Even though they spit on him, he still forgave him, right? Even though they discredited him and used two false witnesses, he still forgave him. And even though one was hanging right there on the cross with him and just said all types of amount of things against him, one of them acknowledged who he was, and he gave him access to paradise. Why? It's because he put his own selfish ego away, and he learned that this was the king that was being buried next to him, or being hung on a tree next to him. And he ought to give him some respect, the respect that he deserves. And so therefore, as we pay attention to this journey that we're on, that we're walking through, we have to acknowledge all the things that come before us. So that's why we say, I shall acknowledge you, and you shall direct my path. If we acknowledge him before we make any decision, guess what? You won't make the wrong decision. Why? Because his wisdom will be in you to do the right thing. And not only that, you have a moral obligation, right? As a child of the Most High, you know what's right and what's wrong. Even children know what's right and what's wrong. Because guess what? When they know they're finna lie to you, well, they make certain expressions or they do certain things. And you know your children. When I was younger, my mom used to say, I can tell when you're lying, so you can stop lying. And I used to be like, how does she know I'm lying? And then I figured out there's a certain thing I used to do with my hands and my hair and all that different type of stuff. And it was a giveaway. And so it's the same way with my son. I would say something to him or ask him to something, and then he do his little thing with his tongue, and it gives him away every time. And so it's just the same way with Yah. He recognizes in our lives when we are doing something that isn't proper. And so therefore that's why we are going after the kingdom. That's why we're seeking his righteousness. Because if we put these things in our lives, it'll turn us away from the unjust lifestyle and help us to, when we get ready to do something, it'll eat at you. Right? When you're doing something wrong, it'll begin to pick at you until you can't sleep at night. He'll steal your peace from you so that you can walk accordingly. And so that's why we have to go back. We have to go back into the old scripture and Torah and look what he told the children of Israel. Look at Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 6. He said, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse. Now listen, he didn't just say the blessing, he said and the curse. Because he knew that they in the man's hearts can't they do other things. They choose to do things that isn't proper. And it might not be you, it could have been somebody in the generation. But that's why you heard last night on the threshing floor where she talked about that generational righteousness. It might be the third or fourth generation that is the breaker of that chain of cycle of the curse, right? And so for instance, like with my father broke a cycle. his father, he don't know. He wasn't in his life, but he was given a good adoptive family that taught him how to be a man, that showed him how to be groomed in the proper way. And therefore, he was always in my life and taught me and groomed me. And he's a preacher. Now it's passed down to me, and now we have another generation that's coming up behind us. And so therefore, he's a chain breaker. And it's possible. But so many people think that because they was born in this society, into a certain area and a certain environment, that they're stuck with that. But I want to tell you, the devil lied to you. He told you that it's impossible for you to get out of this lifestyle that you're living in. It's impossible for you to live without selling drugs. That it's impossible for you to live without a drug in your body. Well, I want to tell you, he's a liar. Because I watched my father, I watched my mother go through these types of things. Amen. And even though it affected me growing up, I had to learn what put them in that situation. And not only that, then I followed suit. But guess what? After I saw their change and being slapped with anointing oil on the forehead before I went to school every morning, and told to say thank you, Jesus, but it did something with me. And so now at the end of every segment of my messages, what do you hear me say? Yahuwah loves you. I love you. Don't forget to say thank you, Yahusha. And that comes from being instilled in me that Yahusha loved me all that time that I was out there doing something that I shouldn't have been doing. The whole time when I one time got so drunk, passed out on the side of the road, and a car could have swerved out the road and ran me over. But all that time he kept me. Messing with women without protection and doing all types of different ungodly things that wasn't pleasing in his eyesight. I could have been losing my life from AIDS or whatever the case is. But he held and kept me. I mean? And so that's why we have to be careful when it comes to the blessing and the curse. Right. Because so many people think that just because you have a certain lifestyle that you have to be stuck in that. You don't. I'm here to tell you that now. He said that he would bless you. But what comes with the blessings? Obedience. Yeah. Obedience to his word, to his statutes, his ways. That's what comes, that's how the blessing comes about. But what brings forth the curses? Well, if it's obedience that brings the blessing, then it's disobedience that brings the curses. And so when you're not seeking the kingdom, when you're not doing the things of righteousness, then you're doing the things of darkness. And you're following your own ways and your own lifestyle. Look what verse 2 say. He said, and shall return unto you Yahuwah Eloheka. Well, first let me finish verse 1, I'm sorry. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among the nations, whither Yahuwah Eloheka has driven you, and shall return you unto Yahuwah Eloheka, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children with all your heart and with all your soul. Now listen to this. What does he tell us to do when we are in his word? He tells us to meditate upon it with all our heart, mind, and soul. And so when he's saying that, he's meaning with your very being, your life, your very life force. This is what you need to depend on, Yahuwah. And so Moshe is rehearsing this to them and telling them, and he's rehearsing it to them over and over again before he passes, so that they understand that if you don't follow what Yahuwah is telling you to do, then you're gonna be found by the wayside. You're gonna be found by the wayside. But look at verse 3. That then Yahuwah Eloheka will turn your captivity and have compassion upon you, and return and gather you from all the nations whither Yahuwah Eloheka has scattered you. Now, do y'all realize that we're in a time like no other where he's gathering his people and he's awakening his people? So right now we're being awakened. But what did he say? He said when Yahusha come back, he said that's when he will gather all his children from all four corners of the earth after the sound of the trump. So right now he's awakening, and then comes the gathering, right? And so that's why right now we're seeking and we're trusting and we're believing that one day we will see the goodness of his glory coming forth in those clouds, whether we're asleep or awake, right? And so another thing, look at what he said. He said he will turn your captivity, meaning he will your captivity, you will no longer be captive. Now I want to tell you something. This is a twofold prophetic meaning. Because you have a spiritual captivity, right? And Yahusha broke this down and said, if you're not serving Yah, then you're serving sin, right? And so if you're serving sin, that means that you're captive to something other than, right? Because you're captive to the lifestyle that you have to live. You're captive to the drug that got you weighed down and thinking that you got to constantly have it. Captive to the sexual desire to have to be with another man or have to be with a woman. Or whatever the case is. But if you're captive to that, then guess what? You're not serving the king.
You better say it.
But a servant of the king knows this. A servant of the king knows to bless those that curse them, right? To love those that hate them, and pray for them that despitefully use and persecute, versus trying to get back at them. See, this is what the Messiah did. He was a suffering servant king. And no matter how much people tried to persuade him that he wasn't the child of Yah, because he knew who he was. And now, I want to tell you something. There are people out there that can persuade you into believing that you're not something that you already are. Because he has declared you a child of the Most High when you come to serve him. Right? But see, the devil wants to steal your inheritance.
Yep.
But in order to receive that inheritance, like when my father leave a will and say, hey, this needs to be done in order for you to receive this. Right? Meaning that might have to, in order to take over the family company, I got to work X amount of hours in this area before I can get to this area.
That's right.
And so it's the same way with the king. You have to. He said, faith without works is dead.
Come on.
And so if you ain't working both of them and you're only doing one and the other, well, that makes you a goat. Now that simply makes you a goat.
Yeah.
Why? Because the goats would gather on the right hand and told, depart from me, right? And then they had the attitude to think, well, when did we see you when we served? Well, when did we serve you when we saw you? Not realizing that he said that the one that was in the street, that was, as you did it under them, you did it under me.
That's right.
And so when you're not seeking after him and you're not doing his thing, then, well, you ain't gonna do it according to him. When you tell somebody that you can't go pray for them because they're not a member of a church, well, you're not seeking the kingdom the way that you should be. Because if you was, the Spirit would never let that come out your mouth. But see, that's because we walk carnally. And so when we walk carnally, we do things carnally. And the carnal mind is death. Right? But to be spiritually minded is what? Life and peace. And so that's what he has to offer you in the kingdom, is life and peace. And that's what true prosperity is, life and peace. To be able to be restored, right? Because that's what Yahushua came. He didn't come to make a new covenant. He came to renew the covenant that was broken beforehand. That his children broke beforehand. He just renewed it. And when you renew something, I wanna make this very clear to you. When you put that word "re" in front of "new," well, I want to tell you something. That's like taking a building block that was tore up, right? And you begin to put it back together, but you implement other pieces inside of that, the bonding, right? Like glue or something like that. So Yahusha came to put that glue there so that it could not be torn. He came to rebuild the bridge that was basically destroyed. You ever heard "don't burn bridges"? Right? He had to rebuild the bridge. And in rebuilding the bridge, that means that the same wood that was burnt, he couldn't use it all over again because some of it was too far gone. But Yahusha, what? He's a restorer. He reconciled, meaning he put things back together. And so therefore, that's why we had to walk accordingly. That's why we had to live according to his word. Look at verse 5. And Yahuwah Eloheka will bring you into the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it, and he will do you good and multiply you above your fathers. You hear that? He said he will multiply you above your fathers, and Yahuwah Elohekah will circumcise your heart.
That's right.
He will circumcise your heart, meaning that you won't have a heart of stone anymore. You'll have compassion for others. You won't want to see others suffering. You won't want to see them going through a trial of not having food to feed their children. You won't want to see that. And I ain't talking about just doing it for charity so that you could bring something back into or get a tax break at the beginning of the year. I'm saying you're doing this out of compassion, meaning that I'm not looking for anything in return.
Amen.
Huh? Because many times we are looking for things in return.
Right.
Because in the back of our mind, what kind of reward can I get? But what did Yahusha say? He said, don't seek the reward here on earth, because your reward in heaven is greater.
Yes.
Right? He said, not one of you that gave up house, that gave up mother, father, brother, or sister. He said, not one of you will receive anything less. He said, but in this life you will receive. If you follow me, you'll still receive a house. You'll receive all these things, but he said with persecution. See, I want to add that in there. He said there's going to be trouble that comes along
He said.
with those things. But guess what? When you make it to the other side, it'll be worth the trouble.
Yes.
It'll be worth the trouble. Why is that? Because before they went into the kingdom, what did they have to do? They had to fight for those things, right? And even up until the time of David, they still wasn't done. David conquered the land. It wasn't Joshua. Joshua led them there, and they began to take over, but it wasn't until that little bitty boy David came along, right? And heard a giant out there talking noise. But I want to tell y'all something. He was already anointed king before he even went out there to battle the giant. Right? Because y'all said he found somebody that was after his own heart. Even though the people chose Saul now, right? They got who they chose. But he wasn't seeking the things of the kingdom. And let's not get it twisted. David wasn't perfect. But he knew how to humble himself when he messed up. He knew how to submit to Yah. He didn't run after man. See, when the prophet came and prophesied to him, you know what he did? He went and fasted for 7 days. Huh? When the prophet came and told him what he did, because he knew the prophet was a spokesperson of Yah. So he didn't seek after the man, he sought Yah. He went into his hiding place and didn't be found for 7 days and sometimes more, because he knew that only Yah can change the judgment that had been dealt. And even though he didn't change his mind, right? He said he was going to trust him anyway. He said, though you slay me, I will trust you. That's what Job said, ain't it?
That's right. That's what he said.
And even David said, if I make my bed in hell, there you will be with me. He trusted y'all all the way. Huh? Who can say you thou prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies? Huh? But my cup runneth over because I'm very blessed. So I want to tell you something. With the blessings comes trouble.
That's right now.
And in order to receive the blessing, you have to go through trouble. You have to be able to withstand the fire. But that's what it is when you seek the kingdom. Right? So we have to keep that in mind. Seeking the kingdom is nothing that is going to come easy. But he said if you could take this and walk with me. Remember? Them men owned their own business. They were fishers. But he said, come follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. Now, I didn't hear him tell them that there was money in that.
He did not.
But what they was doing, they was making money. They were making a living. And guess what? The two friends left their father out there in the boat and came with them so that they could seek the kingdom. And not only that, after they got a little bit more acquainted, they had their mama come out there with a little bit of mashed potatoes and say, hey, master, how about you let them sit at your right hand and your left hand when you were sitting to the Father? See, now I want to tell y'all something. Now, their faith was they knew who he was. But they were seeking the kingdom a little too rough, because he said, listen, I don't make that decision. The Father does. The father does. They had the mama go out there with the potato salad to try to persuade him.
Yeah.
See, they had a right attitude about wanting to sit next to the king, but they did it in the wrong manner, right? Because you don't try to bargain with the king. He said the father makes that decision. Now look at Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 29 through 31. Look what he said. But if from thence you shall seek YAHUAH Elohekah, you shall find him. You see that? If you seek him, you shall find him. And then he turns around and says, if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul, when you are in tribulation, all these things, and when you are in tribulation, all these things will come upon you, even in the latter days. I want y'all to hear that very well, in the latter days, because what time do you think we live in? The latter days. You have certain time periods, and each time period has a latter day, right? Each age has a latter day. So during those ages and during those times, it was certain generations that would go through certain things, right? Just like the time of Jacob's trouble, and there's still a time of Jacob's trouble, because it was prophesied through Jeremiah, and then Daniel understood the prophecy, and there's a gap in how the prophecy worked, right? So, but look at this. Look at this, because we're on something here. Because he just said, we just heard earlier from the master that he said that in order to receive the blessing, you got to go through persecution. You go receive these days, the persecution going to come with you. But he said, in tribulation, you see what he said right there? He said, in tribulation, when you are in tribulation, and all these things will come upon you, even in the latter days, if you turn to YAHUAH Elohekah and shall be obedient unto his voice, right? For YAHUAH Elohekah is a merciful heir. He will not forsake you, neither destroy you, nor forget you, forget the covenant of your fathers, which he swore unto them. He didn't forget it, right? So what he did was he had his son come to restore it. He didn't forget the covenant. He kept the covenant. We didn't, right? He don't break promises. He's not an oath breaker.
Come on now.
We could look at one of our brothers or sisters and make a promise to them, and I promise to keep your secret. And next thing you know, Susie, Joe, and Bob know, right? And so that's what I'm saying. YAHUAH, he didn't break the promise, and he didn't forget. He said he didn't forget. He kept it with the Father. But he said, you know what? He said, son, there's many of us out there, but none of them can do. And you know what? Yahushua did, he looked at him. He said, Father, send me down. Send me down, and I'll make you proud, right? Because didn't it say that it pleased him to bruise him? Huh? He said that he was beaten for our iniquities. Come on, love, help me out over here.
He was bruised for our iniquity, wounded for our transgression, and the chastisement of thy peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed.
We are healed. Because it pleased the Father that his son was willing to be obedient unto death.
That's right.
Obedient unto death. So he took the crown. He took the right and the left hand.
That's right.
The right and the left foot. The spear in the side. And the stripes.
Yes.
And don't forget, he was spit on,
Yeah.
talked about, bashed, reviled, but he still did it all for us.
Yes.
And so we had to be willing to sacrifice so that we could seek these things. So after we begin to seek these things and seek after his kingdom, then we will be able to, we'll be granted access, right? Access to the mysteries of heaven, access to the mysteries of things here on earth, access to spiritual revelations that others may not know. And don't get me wrong, there are those out there that claim that they have so much revelation that deals with the esoteric and the new age religions and all this different type of stuff. And it's sad because I break it down to people all the time about yoga, and they be like, "Are you serious?" I be like, "Yes, I'm totally serious. I'm totally serious." It's ancient arts of how to trickery into how to get you to worship another type of deity. So let's look at Nehemiah chapter 1, verses 9 through 10. Look at this. He said, but if ye turn unto me and guard my commandments or keep them and do them, listen now. So did he say keep them and think about them? Did he say keep them and then look at them? He said keep them and do them, meaning that we're not only hearers of the word, but we're doers as well. So that means that we're hearing it and then we're doing it. We're hearing it, then we're doing it. So we're giving instruction, we follow it. We're instruction, we do it, right? So when you think about statutes, and we have talked about this before, the statutes is like a prescription, right? So on that prescription, the doctor say, take 3 by mouth a day, every 6 hours, right? So you should be reading your word every day. Every day. read your word and pray. So you got to read, pray, seek his face. So as you're doing these things, and then you go forth and you do. So now, as you do, you're letting your light shine. As your light shines, guess what happens? He's glorified. So look at this now. So he said, but if you turn unto me, guard my commandments and do them, though there were of you cast out unto the uttermost part of the heaven, yet will I gather them from thence, and I will bring them unto the place that I have chosen to set my name there. You see that? He said, I will bring them to the place where I have chosen to set my name. Now look at verse 10. Now these are your servants and your people whom you have redeemed by your great power and by your strong hand. See that? So he's praying, that those people that were disobedient, when they are redeemed, that he's glorified through them turning back to him and keeping and doing his word, right? So let's look at Jeremiah real quick, because we know Jeremiah had a lot to say about keeping his word and doing the things that are proper and the things that are right. Look what he says right here. Jeremiah 29, verses 13 through 15. He said, and ye shall seek me and find me. You hear that? Yeah. Did he say you shall seek me and I won't be there? Did he say you shall seek me and maybe I'll show up? Or did he say you shall seek me and find me? So when people start saying there's no God there, I challenge you to seek him.
That's right, man.
And I guarantee you, you won't have to find him. He'll find you. Amen. So look right here. Look at the powerful meaning to this. He said, and ye shall seek me and find me, and when ye shall search for me with all your heart. Okay, so I want to clarify something. So now he said, you shall seek him and you shall find him. But we also have to do what? We have to search ourselves, right? What are we searching? Through the word. Where are we searching? Through prayer. Where are we searching? Through meditation on him, right? Through love, through kindness, through peace. So now, look what he said though. Look what he said. He said, with all your heart. Did he say some of your heart? Huh?
No.
Did he say from the bottom of your heart?
No.
See, when people tell me that, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart, I'm like, why can't be your whole heart? I don't just want the bottom of your heart. I want your whole heart. So have you ever thought about that? When people say, man, I tell you from the bottom of my heart. Man, that's only a portion of it. I want the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you're really into it the way you say you are, let the whole thing be in it, not just the bottom of it. And nobody never said it from the top of my heart. All right. Anyway, so look though. He said, so you must search for him with all your heart, meaning that you dearly you hold that precious. Remember, he said, where your heart is, there will your treasure be also. Right? Lay not treasures up in here on earth, but lay them up where? In heaven. Great is your reward. But look what he said in verse 14. And I will be found of you, says YAHUAH, and I will turn away your captivity. He's talking about this again. So the captivity of what? We know that there's a natural captivity, but the captivity of your mind. That's why we pray, Yah, renew the spirit of my mind. Create within me a clean heart, renew within me that right spirit. Right? So he said, he will turn away your captivity and will gather you from all nations and from all the places where I have driven you, says YAHUAH, and I will bring you again into the place whence I caused you to be carried away captive. Do you see that? So he said he will bring you back. Now look what he said, because you have said, Yahuwah has raised us up prophets in Babel. Know that thus says Yahuwah, the king that sits upon the throne of David, and of all the people that dwell in this city, and of your brethren that are not gone forth with you into captivity. Thus says Yahuwah Sabaoth, that's verse 17. Behold, I will send upon thee the sword and the famine and the pestilence, and will make them like vile things that cannot be eaten. They are so evil. So when you're not seeking him, when you're not going after him, if you're part of that crowd that's evil, that crowd that's not pleasing in his eyesight, well, those are the ones that will be slaughtered. Those are the ones that will be cast out in the outer darkness, and there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth, where the worm dieth not, where there's fire, right? And so that's why we had to trust him, and we had to obey what he's telling us to do, because if we do it if we try to do it our way, right? If we try to do it our way, then our way causes death eventually. Our way only leads us astray, but his way takes us down that straight and narrow path that we need to be on. And guess what? Yahusha said, troublesome is that path, because only few find it. So look at this. Isaiah chapter 55 verses 6 and 7. Seek ye Yahuwah while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way. So this is what we're saying. Like those that are going to be taken by the sword and famine and earthquakes and all those different things, they don't have to be. Because all you have to do is he said, let the wicked forsake his way, and unrighteous is man his thoughts, and let him return unto Yahuwah El Yahuwah, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our Elohim, for he will abundantly pardon. Now I want to tell y'all something. I learned something when I was studying about grace. Grace is like the governor's pardon when he frees a prisoner from prison, right? Because that prisoner was acquitted of all wrongdoings, he was pardoned. So none of that stuff, all that time that he served, everything is not on his record. Why? Because he was given pardon. And that's what Yahuwah does. He forgives us and he gives us pardon. But now I want to tell you something. Don't frustrate his grace to don't play with it. In other words, you don't take it and think you could rip it and think it's all good, right? Because that pardon can put you back in a place that you shouldn't. That tearing up the pardon or getting rid of could put you back in a place that you shouldn't be, right? And so that's why we have to do this thing properly. That's why we have to follow him according to his word and not according to our own ways and our own thoughts, because our own thoughts will only hurt us. Our own thoughts will only hurt us. Now let's go real quick to my boy Zechariah, because as we look in Zechariah, yes, I said the book of Zechariah. I know it's hard. Sometimes people don't go into these other books, but it's there. And he was a witness too. So let's look at what he has to say. Zechariah chapter 1 verse 3. Therefore say you unto them, thus says Yahuwah Sabaoth, turn ye unto me, says Yahuwah Sabaoth, and I will turn unto you, says Yahuwah Sabaoth. So he said, if you turn to me, I'll turn to you. Right? But he said, a proud heart, he turned his face against. But the humble, he gives grace. He gives that pardon to. Right? And so we have to stay in our place. In other words, stay in your lane. Don't be trying to drive somewhere you ain't got no business going. Now let's look what Brother James has to say. Right? The brother of Yahusha. Let's look what he has to say. Because he walked with him. So he knew him pretty well. I'm pretty sure, they took baths together probably. Mama knew the things that what they call Yahusha. Come here, oh Chitri, whatever his nickname was. You know how mamas have a nickname for the children. come here, my little pudding. You know, just talking to all the little kids. Come here, my little babies. Just being all nice to them and stuff. You know, so let's look what he has to say. James chapter 4, verse 8. He said, draw nigh to YAHUAH, and he will draw nigh to you. But then he turned around and he kind of stiffly rebuked you and said, cleanse your hands, ye sinners. Purify your hearts, ye double-minded. He said, be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned into mourning and your joy into heaviness. Listen, he ain't saying, he's saying all the time for that fun. You know, fun is temporary. Joy is everlasting. But he said all that time for the sinning and playing around and doing all, it's time to put it to an end. So he's saying, humble yourself. Look, verse 10. Humble yourself in the sight of YAHUAH, and he shall lift you up. See that? He shall lift you up. So right now, as I normally do, I want to extend the offer to you. If you haven't given your life to Yahushua Mashiach, Jesus the Christ, give your life to him today. It is of the most utter importance. He loves you more than you know, than you can ever understand. You can't even fathom the depth of his ahabah, his love, his agape. Right? And so, as we just read what James said, he said, humble yourselves in the sight of YAHUAH, and he will lift you up. Listen, you don't have to be at rock bottom anymore. Right? We'll stand on a rock that will lift you up. But you don't have to be on a rock that weighs you down. Or you don't have to carry a rock that weighs you down. Sin is a burden. Living your life your own way is burdensome. But when you learn to give it over to him, stop worrying about bills. Stop worrying. Listen, I know that in your natural state, that's gonna come. But when you realize that you're stressed over something that you can't help because of certain areas, power grid is higher than another, and you can only afford to live in that area, you can't help that. But one thing that you can do is you can fall on your knees and pray. And don't just seek him for material things. Seek him because it's what you should do. Right? Seek him because it's what you should do. All he want to do is have a relationship with you. He want to love you and want you to love him. And I want, and as the train get ready to come into a station, it's slowing down. Bullet train about to stop. I want to read this to you one more time from Matthew's perspective. Look what Yahusha said, right? Yahusha said in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33 and 34. He said, but seek ye first the kingdom of YAHUAH and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Listen to this though. Take therefore no thought for tomorrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Meaning that when tomorrow comes, you're going to have different things that's attacking you.
That's right.
Meaning that ain't no point in letting what's ailing you today carry on in tomorrow.
That's right.
Deal with this, right? And give it over to Yah. Remember what Yahoo said, come unto me all ye that are heavy laden, and I shall give you rest unto your soul. He said, my burden is light, my yoke is easy. Give these things to me and I can carry it. But look what he said. On the last part, he said, sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Now listen to that. What is he saying right there when he said, take therefore no thought for tomorrow, for tomorrow shall take the thought for the things of itself. Then he said, sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. So you have to be careful, because thinking too hard about one thing can cause certain things to enter into your heart. And certain things will come out of the way that you handle it. But look, there's a person in scripture that is a good example on how you seek the kingdom, right? Because a kingdom was handed over to him, but what did he do when the kingdom was handed over to him? Because he was still young, he didn't quite know what it meant to rule a people. So he began to seek Yah on his wisdom, right? So if you go to 1 Kings, and this is in closing, 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 7 through 14. And now, O Yahuwah Elohai, you have made your servant king instead of David, my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in, and your servant is in the midst of your people which you have chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered or counted for multitude. Give therefore your servant an understanding heart to judge, and people that I may discern between good and bad, for who is able to judge? This is your so great people. And the speech pleased Adonai that Solomon had asked this thing. And Elohim said unto him, because you have asked this thing, and have not asked for yourself long life, neither have asked for riches for yourself, nor have asked for life, for the life of your enemies, but asked for yourself understanding to discern judgment. And what do you think he was doing now? He sought the wisdom which first came from above. He was seeking the kingdom. He went to YAH and sought for his directions, that he may, as he acknowledged him, he direct his path. Now look what he said. Verse 12, behold, I have done according to your words. Lo, I have given you a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like you before you, neither after you shall any arise like unto you. And I have given you that which you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto you all your days. Verse 14, and if you will walk in my ways, listen to this now, walk in your ways? No, he said walk in my ways, to guard my statutes or keep your prescription, take it like you're supposed to, right? And my commandments, as your father David did walk, then I will lengthen your days. I will lengthen your days. And so let's keep that example that Yahushua gave unto us, that all others that came before him gave unto us, and that's seeking the kingdom of YAH, seeking the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, seeking how to live according to his ways, to walk according to his ways, and live according to his ways, and not our own lifestyle. Every time it said turn back to me, what it was saying was repent. So right now, repent of your own lifestyle. Repent of the way that you live and give your life to him this day. I offered it to you earlier and I offer it to you again. Give your life to Yahushua Mashiach. Confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that he is the son of Yahuwah Eloheka, and he will receive you. He said, my sheep hear my voice, and a stranger they will not follow. Amen. Amen. And he said, I know my sheep. So if you call on him, just like Yahuwah said, you seek me with all your heart, he shall find you. So give your life to him today if you haven't done that. I thank each and every one of you that showed up, and thank you for your support. Thank House of Fire for being here. House of Fire. Amen. And then I want to say right now, give a praise offering to the Most High. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We just thank each and every one of you for showing up. We ask that you share, subscribe, comment to this channel, and pass it on. There are other things coming with House of Restoration, so y'all just keep it in store. And we don't want to just be focused on YouTube. We want to kind of move our platform out there. Amen. And so, in closing, I just want to say, like I always do, I love you. Yahuwah loves you. Don't forget to say, thank you, Yahushua. Talk to you soon.
Torah, Torah, Amet. Torah, Torah, Amet. Tudaya.
This is a Cinema Beats production.
Now I can sit here and pray about things I really